Okay, I'm going to show you how to line these up when you're applying them. When you put the lid in, you want to start at the top, and you want the back of the lid to hit first against the table, the black table. Then you want to pivot it down on top of the label, then pivot it up in the air and wipe it on, just like that. That should center the label up fairly well. Then you do the next lid, you just put it down, pivot down, over. Just like that, and you should have a pretty nice looking label. It should be within about a 32nd of an inch to the center, maybe even closer. And you just don't want to use too much pressure because you can accidentally scratch the label if you push down too hard. You don't really need a lot of pressure. You just want to bring it in, forward, and down, just like that. Just like this. As you can see. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to load the labels into the machine. So when you get done with your roll of labels, you need to turn the machine off. Of course, this won't be there because the roll will be empty. And you want to snap this forward. That'll disengage the feed roller. So, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and pull this roll out, but as you know, of course, when your roll is done, there will be nothing in the machine. So we go like this. Remember to remove the left collar. The one with the spring is the one you want to remove. The other one is your label guide. So we have the collar, then we have the spring, the guide, and then the core insert. There'll be another core insert, but you can leave that on the assembly here. So now we'll bring in our new roll of labels. We want to make sure that when they unwind, they're unwinding so that the tag end is on the bottom side or facing the notch in the roll. Okay, then we have our core insert. We're going to go in the exact reverse order we took them off in. The guide, the spring, and then the collar. You want to collapse the spring just a little bit and then lock it in place. All that does is give the roll a little bit of attention. When you put it on the machine, as you can see, we have two notches in the bottom of these guides, and those lock onto the rod in the bottom of the machine. We also have a spot on the roller here that's smaller, which goes into the notch on the machine in the back, so you need to line up those four items. The bottom of the guides, and the end of the rod and the notch in the machine. Just like that, it'll lock into place. Now we're going to feed the labels into the table assembly. The table is made of two flat pieces of metal. There's a top table, which you can see, and a smaller one on the bottom, and at the back they form a wedge. You want to feed the labels between the wedge at this point. So I'm going to feed them through. So you want to have a nice flat edge on the end of the labels. Feed them through till you see them coming out the front of the machine here. When you come out the front of the edge of the table, you want to pull it out. Then lock it back into place. Now when you turn the machine on, it's going to feed out the first label, and these are going to go towards the roll. You need to make sure, after you do, to get rid of your first few labels and you apply them to your lid, you come down and make sure you keep holding this tag in until it goes on top of the roll. Once it goes on top of the roll, you're fine. They'll feed on back into the trash can or whatever you need. Now you're ready to label lids.